What's the note say?
All right, yeah. All right, meat. Starts out meat, and then there's like other stuff.
Meet me in the parking garage, Frank.
Yeah?
Yeah. You clearly have a learning disability, dude.
Well, shit.
What are y'all doing?
This is awful. I'm Deontay.
I'm Jordan.
And welcome back to the channel. Today we have a very special video for you. We will be covering destination weddings. Me and Jordan just got married this past weekend. And so, you know, on our journey of doing that, we were watching a lot of YouTube videos, trying to get information. And we felt like since we just went through it, that we will make a video since we are variety content creators. Now, please understand, we are not telling you you should do this. We're just letting you know our experiences, what to look out for if you do, you know, choose to go on this path, and, you know, our reasons why we decided to go on this path. Okay, so we're going to go through this video and explain those things. If you would like a deeper explanation as far as the process, because this video is going to be very high level, like we're not going to go into, you know, our timeline as far as each thing we did. If you would like, if you have more questions, leave them in the comment section and we will do a follow-up video once we get enough, or we'll respond to your comment on the video and get you your answer there. It may not require a video. All right, so we're going to get into it, and hopefully you enjoy the video and hopefully it helps anyone out in this process.
All right, so let's just first start by talking about what is a destination wedding. A destination wedding is just basically a wedding that you have to travel to that's not in your hometown. Most of your guests will also have to travel as well. We chose to do our destination wedding in Mexico. That's where we got engaged last year. It's also pretty close to us, like the closest, nicest beach, I feel like. But you can do a destination wedding anywhere. It can be in the United States. It can be in the state that, in the country that you live in. It's just traveling to a place that usually has like a better scenery and things like that. So why we chose it? I was thinking, we're from two different states. My family lives in North Carolina. We live in Texas, where Deontay's family lives. And we were just trying to make it fair for everybody, like not expecting one side of the family to travel to one of the states. Like everybody has to travel. And that way we also get a family vacation out of it. Like, who doesn't want to go to Mexico and have a vacation and then also have a wedding during that time, you know? And it kind of was like an opportunity for some of our family members that have never been there before. Like, for example, my sisters are very young. They're teenagers. They've never been out of the country. So I was like, this would be a good opportunity for them to get their passport and go somewhere.
Again, everything Jordan said is what went into our decision as why we wanted to, or what was, you know, the good pros about destination wedding. Now, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead. What?
One other reason why it was nice for me, like, I feel like maybe this is stereotypical, but usually the wife does the majority of the planning, where you have to figure out each vendor. You have to find a florist, you have to find a decorator, you have to find a person to do the cake, you have to find the caterer. This was a one-stop shop. We talked to one person at the beginning who gave us a spreadsheet of everything that would be included. We talked to one person at the resort who was going to be our on-site day of coordinator, and they handled everything. Now, it was still a tedious process. Like, we still had to fill out lots of forms. It took hours and hours of filling out to get to the things that we wanted, but there was only one person in the beginning and one person in the end, pretty much, that we did that through, which was very convenient for me. I do not like to talk to a lot of people. I did not want to have to make calls. I did not want to have to do
and we'll get into that in our things to consider section. We'll kind of section it out for you to alleviate that, because it is tedious, but we have not a solution, but a suggestion that will kind of help alleviate that. But yeah, all right, now here are some things to consider in planning and during. First thing, the most important thing is to make sure before you start to book. Now, you can look at how many people you want to invite, but I would reach out to those people and ask them, because that's what we did. Like, hey, we are thinking about a destination wedding. It will require you to get a passport. It will require you to, you know, book a reservation. It will require you to book plane tickets. Are you comfortable with that? That
and
is
give them a ballpoint price, because we had an idea of like how much the rooms would cost. So like it's one thing to say, oh yeah, I'm gonna travel, this sounds like fun, versus this is how much you're gonna pay, are you still in? There's
Right.
a big difference.
So make sure that that is something that you do. You can still like start it by talking that way, so you can have more information to give to your guests. But the number one thing we would suggest is that you confirm with your guests before that they're down with the idea. All right. Second thing, weather. That is, if you can tell by the title, depending on where your location is. For us, it was in Mexico. We right in the middle, not in the middle, but actually the beginning of hurricane season, which, as you all know, Hurricane Beryl came through and did his big one. But that was like the first one of hurricane season, the biggest one at the beginning, like, and we booked this back in like last year, right? So if you're gonna book a destination wedding, timing is everything, but keep weather in mind. And we'll go over our experiences about flying into a hurricane, which is basically what we did. All right. Third thing to consider, this is going to be more expensive for your guests than a traditional wedding. We'll have to book plane tickets, we'll have to book rooms, we'll have to, do extra things, which also is, that will require more work for them as well. So it's a little bit more expensive. It will require them to do more work. Also for you, keep in mind that we'll eliminate some people for cost, mobility. Maybe they can't get out the country for, other things, whether it be, legal issues, whatever the case may be, babysitters for children. That's another thing to consider. Are you going to have children at your wedding, or will you allow children at your wedding? There's all inclusive. There are resorts that are
Adults only.
Adults only. There are children friendly resorts. So keep those things in mind as well, and have those decisions made either with your guests or before, right? Like know ahead, it's going to be all adults. So then that way they know ahead of time that they're going to have to make those arrangements. Okay. And that'll help them make the decision on whether they're available to come or not. All right. So keep that in mind. And also don't take it personal if they can't make it for those things. Right. Fourth thing to consider, you won't, like Jordan was saying earlier, florist, cake, design, layout. If you're doing a destination wedding, like for us, we did Cancun, Mexico. It was a different resort from the one we went to the year before. You're not going to be able to have that much insight of what it's going to look like ahead of time. You won't know how good the cake is. You won't know how exactly pretty the flowers are. Now, again, like Jordan said, there's a spreadsheet and a booklet. There's going to be thousands of options you'll have, but you won't be able to get that in the moment, looking at it yourself. So
right. Unless you book 2 trips to that place, like
yes.
If you just got it like that, or you can book a flight and go stay and do all of the cake testing and stuff like that. We both work. We just didn't have the time to do that, so we were fine with whatever they gave to us as what it was going to be.
Right. And also, you're going to get a lot of options. We're going to let you know right now, and you'll be able to see from the pictures we'll be posting, like the pictures that we took. We did have a photographer and a videographer. That's another thing to consider. Those pictures won't be ready in 4 to 6 weeks, or 4 to 6 weeks, right?
For the photography, and I think 8 to 10 weeks for the video.
But one of our family members, or a couple of them, took some pretty good pictures. So keep that in mind. You won't get those pictures until, like, again, 2 months down the line. But you won't get to have that in-person feel. Fifth thing to consider, giving your guests enough time to prepare. We started ours, we would say a little bit late in the game. So we would say give your guests a healthy amount of time, and that's going to be determined by your coordinator. They'll tell you, hey, the first payment installment needs to be by this day, and then it has to be paid off by this day. Since the day that we booked for our wedding, our guests kind of had a short amount of time from the time they made their initial payment until the time it needed to be paid off. It was a rather kind of short period of time. So we would suggest knowing when you pick your wedding day, also make sure, hey, when is our guest first payment? When should it be paid off? And make sure they have, I would say, well, we would say about 6 months in between first payment and last payment. That way they can make payments incrementally. And again, it's enough time. So timing is going to be very important for your guests and for yourself, because they'll give you time to do more research in case and to go back to the options thing. That's where I started off and I lost my train of thought. You will get a lot of options as far as picking how you want it to look. Please understand, you don't have to go and do all of it, because again, maybe you'll take a look at ours and determine for yourself, does this look good for you? We thought it was perfect, but we didn't go in and break the bank with all the extra stuff, because they're going to charge you $40 per chair. And if you invite 50 people, that's just for your chairs. And guess what? Now you got flowers and this and that. So when we talk about tedious, it is down to the layout of, do you want a shoe bin? Do you want this sign here? What type of arch do you want in the back? All that stuff. You don't have to go crazy with it if you don't want to, but you can just keep it very simple and, not break the bank, because they are generally supposed to be cheaper than most weddings. But you can also go crazy with it, because we ran it up. You'll see by our breakdown, we ran it up without even trying. Like, we weren't trying to run it up.
We did the simplest
and we did the simplest form, and you'll see what we got. And we were very happy with what we got. So keep in mind, you won't be able to see. And also don't put too much stress when you get that big booklet of all the options, okay? So timing is everything. What else did we say?
I want to make a point about the time too, because we were saying 6 months in between. That means that you have to give yourself way longer than that, because we had been planning for a year and we still don't know that. We don't necessarily feel like we gave our guests enough time. So
right.
You need maybe 6 months just to plan first, and then the 6 months for your guests to book. And then that's still, they have to be paid off 3 months before your wedding day. So we're talking about 15 months over all the whole
And trust me, it'll go quickly and it's needed, because there are things like party favors, right? You will have time to plan out with the airline. Okay, we need a bigger luggage just for the party favors. You can put little things together and have it sent out there on your under the plane. But you can plan for that if you give yourself more time. You can get more ideas and substitute things. Like I said, if you don't want to pay those hefty costs, they're you guys are some creative people. You can think of things yourself that when you look at this booklet, I don't need to spend $100 on this. I can make this and then send it. So that's why we're saying make sure that you take your time. All right. Anything else to consider? If we think of more things, or if you have some concerns, if you're in the middle of booking, like I said, please leave those comments. We don't want to make this video too long because we don't want to bore you, but we really just want to let you know our experiences, because this was something new for me and her, and obviously getting married and destination wedding. And we kind of feel like we did our big one because, again, we were in the middle of a hurricane and we made it out just fine. All right. So the next section of this video is now going to be talking about our experiences and what we actually dealt with, and kind of what our process was.
So our experience leading up to the wedding, basically, I knew we wanted to do destination weddings. So I researched some different agencies, found an agency that I thought would work for us. They reached out to us. We talked to them for about 8 months leading up to the big day. We were in contact with one person for the wedding part of it. We were in contact with a separate person for the room block. Again, we're not going to get all into that. If you want the website or if you want more information about that timeline, let us know and we can make another video or answer your questions. But just leading up to it, it was just basically found a website, worked with them all the way up to the week before the wedding.
And then we were passed off to the on-site coordinator, because the wedding agency they visit the resort. So they can, they're going to Zoom you and tell you all these things. They visit the resort and they'll be able to tell you what each event, because they have to, because, they know what it is, but they're not there all the time because they have different resorts. So once you're booked in your wedding, then you have someone that's actually at the resort that will then pick up where they left off and, take over, from there. Now, for us, after we got done, we got to the week leading up to the wedding. So this is like last week. We are looking at the weather, and we see it's raining on the day. Generally at first, like, weather forecasts are not always perfect, but we do see that it's going to be rain on our day. So now we're already panicking. But the resort did send us an email letting us know, hey, the hurricane is coming. Let us know what you want to do, so that way we can know if we need to move forward or if we need to change something. So we had to make a decision. Again, not getting into the room block and all these other things, but this is very important. If weather does impact your trip, you have to adjust. So we decided that, we had been building up, this long, that we were going to continue. We spoke to our guests as well, and we let them know we're going to continue. However, if you want to move your day, you can outside of our wedding, and you won't be charged. If we would have moved our day to a different day that's not weather impacted, that would have affected our guests, because the only reason why they're allowing you to change is for weather. But if we move to a day where there's no weather, then the guests don't have a reason. So we made a decision. We're gonna either make it out alive and everything is gonna be okay, i.e. now, or
we'll just eat the cost.
We'll eat the cost. If some of our guests decided, hey, it's too risky, we're not gonna come, and it was just us there, we were gonna make the best of it, that day. So that week, we were talking to the wedding coordinator. We were talking to our guests. Hey, move your flight to this day, and that way you will come in after the hurricane had passed. So we sat during the hurricane Thursday night and Friday morning on lockdown at the resort, in our rooms. Couldn't leave the room. If we opened the door, there was an alarm that went off. But they did actually offer us a shelter, because where we were in Cancun, it wasn't predicted to be that bad, but you never
it was
can tell.
Category 2.
It was category 2. It's still pretty bad.
Unpredictable, I guess.
Right, it's unpredictable with weather, so we never know. The weather could have not been bad. Some could have fell and hit us in the head. You never know, right? You know what I'm saying? So they did offer us a shelter where you could stay in there, but we sat it out through the room, violent wind, shaking, and we're in a glass.
Violent winds was shaking? You knew that firsthand?
Yeah, when I woke up, when you woke me,
I'm sorry, what? Say that again?
Well, remember when I was asleep?
Okay.
Remember when I was asleep, and then you were like, hey, let's sleep on the sofa inside on the...
and guess what? You still went right back to sleep. I can tell y'all that there were violent winds whistling, because half of our room was it was a corner suite, so most of it is made of glass, so that it has a beautiful view, and the wind was making the glass shake. This man was knocked out the entire time. I'm over in the bed trying to snuggle up to him, trying to make all this noise, trying to move so he'll wake up so I can say, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to wake you up.
You woke me up
through the entire thing.
I didn't sleep through the entire thing. And that wasn't even the worst part. The Friday morning, which is when it was...
How would you know? How would you know that wasn't the worst part?
Because we made it out alive. So yeah, we went through that whole, we went through that night, but that did impact our wedding, because the original location of our wedding was no longer available. So they moved us to a backup location. And again, our on-site coordinator was the MVP, because they were on it. It was all right, well, we can't, early in the morning, on Saturday, on the day of our wedding, hey, we can't have it here. Here's the backup location. And in my opinion, I actually think it was better than our original location after seeing where it was with the lighting overlooking the ocean. And we had that option. We just chose a different option, but I'm glad that we went that route. Our families came in the day of the wedding when they were originally supposed to be there the day before, because we had things like a welcome dinner planned, which they then allowed us to switch that to a farewell dinner, so we still got our family time. Even though the hurricane did impact the beginning, it didn't affect the wedding in a negative way, and it didn't affect family time to where we couldn't, have those moments.
Yeah, I mean, it was still there was a lot of anxiety, at least for me, leading up to it. There was so many questions unanswered from the time we got there on Thursday to the time that our wedding was supposed to be 6 p.m. Saturday. I was a nervous wreck, just wanting everything to still work out. I'm like a hopeless, optimistic type of person. I'm like, I just think everything is going to work out once we get through this. So, I mean, luckily it did. Everything worked out. Again, our family had to change and come in at like, they got to the resort at like 1:30. Wedding starts at 6. My dad, who's walking me down the aisle, had to figure out how to get his suit pressed really quick when they got there. So it was still a bunch of hassle. The person who was going to do my hair and makeup decided not to come, which was what was best for her family. I completely understood. But then I'm here like left to figure out how am I going to get my hair and makeup done. I had this huge plan already. I'm a planner, so I already had it in my head. We're going to start my hair at like 10 o'clock in the morning, and I had things laid out. Didn't start hair till 2:30. Had to be ready by 6. I was late.
Let me shout out to my cousin. I just feel like, because like she said, our original person decided it was best for her family not to fly in a hurricane. So it was like, no one say anything, because we literally flew into a place we knew a hurricane was going to hit. But not only did she come in and help my wife with hair and makeup, she's the one that's taking all these great pictures for the rest of the vacation. So she came in and showed out. So I just want to say, Ashley, thank you for seeing the video. Shout out to Ashley. Shout out to all the other family members that actually said, hey, we're gonna ride out with you too. And they showed up, and they flew into, because it still rained after the hurricane had passed. Like it still like rained a couple of times, but again, it wasn't nothing that affected the trip. Cost. All right, so that was our timeline. Did we forget anything? We were informed. Yeah, we that was kind of our timeline of what happened at the venue. It was nothing too dramatic. Like we can't say, oh, this was terrible. Like we really genuinely enjoyed our time. We enjoyed everyone that helped us throughout the process. Cost. The website was it advertised, or it was implied, around $10K for the wedding, which honestly, now that we think about it, the wedding itself probably was somewhere around that. We just had flights and other things, and Jordan had a real good like plan with getting a credit card through the airline, paying for the wedding on the credit card to get miles that allowed us to get the plane tickets out there free or
First class,
like on the way. Like all of that was done like in preparation. That's why if you give yourself time, you can, again, you all are very creative. Some of you all are smarter than us, and you guys have the avenues and the discount codes to where you can like make it efficient. So our wedding technically was under 10K, but there were things that we did that push it around. And as you can see, I'll put the cost. It's going to be very clear for you to see. So it was around what, $12,500 something, right? Mm-hmm. That was a total wedding. So we didn't break the bank, and it was very enjoyable for us.
Also, can I put in a note really quick? We used a credit card to earn the points, but we paid the credit card off. Don't think that we're telling you to go into $12,000 worth of debt. We had the money available. We just used the credit card in order to get points. If you want to know more about that, I will make a video about that, because somebody else put me onto that. It's not just information that I knew how to do. So I'm glad to help anybody else who would want to know that stuff. But please don't think that we're telling you it's okay to put $12,000 on a credit card. Yeah,
my bad, because somebody will take that. Yeah, we use a credit card to get the points, but like the
credit card is already paid off again.
So yeah, good job, because somebody will take that the wrong way. But that was our experience. That was it. Like that's all we had. That's all like we had. Now I don't know if you're gonna see the pictures of the wedding. I might put at the end like a little slideshow, or you may be already seeing them now while I'm talking. But either way, that was our experience in Cancun, Mexico. What was it? Quintana Roo. Dreams Resort is where we were. And the resort was excellent. A1 for the resort. But yeah, reception also was very, very well done. Everything was done. The staff was nice. And again, they showed up. They went. Now there won't be no alcohol if y'all show up during a hurricane, because Mexico, the state, the country, they don't, when it's a hurricane, the government says ain't nobody getting no alcohol. Not even the people not even off resort. It wasn't just resort, because imagine, drunk Americans during a hurricane, drunk anybody during a hurricane, you'd be blown away in the ocean. We won't know nothing about you. So
It was great execution, very inconvenient for people like me who like to have a shot or two, but it was great execution. And then everything did open back up by Friday. So it was only one day that we weren't able to do things.
And you can also send a bottle of liquor again on the plane, which is what we did. We had 1,800.
Technically, we didn't go any days.
Yeah, we didn't go. We had 1,800 in our room. Like, we invited people up to our room. All right, that's the video. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope this kind of shed some light. Again, if you have any more questions on any part of this video, please reach out to us on any one of the social medias, whether it be TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, or here in the comment section on YouTube. That'll be the video for today, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Bye, y'all.